Greetings YouTube, this is Sixus. And Yu-Gi-Oh's initial Duel Terminal Series gave rise to some of the game's worst design archetypes. While some failed mainly due to lackluster members, others were unplayable because of the gimmick they were intended to work around. But out of all of these, I'd have to say that Mist Valley was the worst handled. To explain why, I shall discuss their card lineup, beginning with their level 2 tuner monster, Mist Valley Baby Walk, which could specify itself when it is sent from the hand to the graveyard, which is barely relevant because this archetype doesn't really have anything except for one card which can trigger this effect, and we'll get to that one later. If this was, say, Dark Ward, it would make more sense, and the only reason its effect is like this is due to being a reference to an older card, that being Walk from the Valley of Haze. This card was released 6 years prior, and had a similar yet worse effect. That being that when it was sent from the hand to the graveyard, you can shuffle it back into the deck. Now, I will concede that it does explain why the effect and the artwork are the way they are, but all that doesn't explain why it's part of the Mist Valley archetype. On the subject of level 2 tuners, we have Mist Valley Windmaster, which once per turn can have both players send cards from their hands to the graveyard until they both have 4 cards in their hand. This is their only card that can send cards from the hand to the graveyard, and has an awful restriction of needing both players to have 5 or more cards in their hand. So in other words, it will never be activated. Next up is Mist Valley Thunderbird, a level 3 non-tuner thunder monster, which states that when it is returned from the field to the hand, it specializes itself back to the field. Also, it cannot attack the turn that this effect is activated. This is where we finally realize the intended gimmick of this archetype, that being bouncing cards back to the hand, and that this monster is a reusable target for those effects. Mist Valley Salmon is a level 3 tuner that once per turn can return another monster you control to the hand, in order to have this card gain 5 on attack until the end phase. On this note, let's look at Mist Condor, which can special summon itself from your hand by bouncing one Mist Valley monster you control back to your hand. And if you do this, its attack becomes 1700. The reason I'm putting these two cards together is because both of them become 1700 attackers by bouncing monsters back to your hand. And it is clear that Condor is the superior of these two due to being an actual special summon and not taking up your normal summon. Moving on, we have Mist Valley Watcher. This is a normal monster. It has 1500 attack and 1900 defense. Nothing else to add. That's all there is with this one. Mist Valley Soldier is a level 4 tuner which states that while this face-up monster is under your control, any monster that battles it and isn't destroyed gets returned to its owner's hand at the end of the down step. This effect would have been better if its archetype contained some card that prevented Mist Valley monsters from being destroyed by battle, because then this monster would be able to remove difficult monsters such as Bills or Bujin Yamato. Or going your Senju route, it could be used to constantly reuse and bounce back kaijus. One of the better members of this archetype is Mist Valley Falcon. This 2000 attack monster states that it can only attack if you return a card you control to your hand. The important aspect is that this card states any card. Not just monster, not just spell trap, any card. And because of this, it could let you get around soft once per turn clauses, such as the one possessed by their field spell. You could extend the amount of turns that Swords of Revealing Light gets to stay on the field by resetting it. or you can turn Big Bang Salt into a reusable banister removal. Bouncing is extremely exploitable. That's what I'm trying to get at with this. The first tribute monster, meanwhile, is Mist Valley Executor. A level 5 Thunder monster with on normal summon returns all face-up spell and trap cards on the field to the hand. Honestly, you're better off just using Swift Budman Joe. And you won't even lose anything by doing this trade. You see, Joe returns all spell and trap cards to the hand, regardless of their position. It's also slightly stronger. With all these monsters covered, we can now discuss their boss monster. Mist Valley Apex Avian, once per chain, can negate and destroy any card or effect's activation at the cost of returning one Mist Valley monster to the hand. Right now, two things should be obvious. First, that Apex Avian plus Thunderbird equals infinite negations, as whenever an effect is activated, Avian will return Thunderbird to your hand, which would then prompt Thunderbird's self-special summon effect, ensuring that you will always have a Mist Valley monster on your field. And second is that a level 7 in this archetype, is devoid of any tribute portal, so there's no reason for this to be this level. Looking to the extra deck, we have Mist Valley Thunderlord. This is a level 7 Synchro monster, which requires any tuner plus one or more Mist Valley monsters. And it possesses a quick effect that once per turn you can bounce one card you control to have this monster gain 5 on attack. The bounce effect could be used for the same purposes as Falcon, or, due to being a quick effect, you could defensively return a card that is at risk of being destroyed. Having a 3100 attack monster is just an added bonus. Before returning to the main deck, let's examine some honorary Mist Valley monsters. Mistbird Clausulus can once per turn target a face-up monster, and that target's attack is reduced to 0, and then its effects are negated. This effect lasts until the end of the turn. Would be significantly better if it was a quick effect, honestly. A noteworthy aspect of Clausulus is that it has a counterpart. No, not the Necros one. I'm talking about the bad one. Yeah, Ally of Justice Clausulus, that's the one. According to its flavor text, Mistbird Clausulus is a member of the Mist Valley. Thanks for existing, only contribute to the lore. Why don't you go visit with Flame Veiled Magician? The final synchro we're discussing is the level 9 Mr. Worm, which, if Synchro Summon, allows you to target and return to the hand up to 3 cards your opponent controls. It's a level 9 Synchro that takes at least 3 monsters summon and targets 3 cards on the field when it is summoned. It's just a knockoff Trissula, and no one is going to win this over Triss, especially now that Lynx are competing for the extra deck space. Moving on to the spell lineup. I would like to clarify that the Shrine of Mist Valley is not really a Mist Valley card, as it is intended for Gustos, and it even has the crest of the Gustos on it. Mist Valley's actual field spell is Divine Wind of Mist Valley. This card says that once per turn, if a wind monster is returned to the hand, you can specimen a level 4 or lower wind monster from the deck. This effect would make up for the tribute needed for the boss monster and result in cards like Gen X Ally Birdman and Miss Condor being advantage gainers, especially if you are returning Thunderbird to your hand. The issue is that it is currently limited due to how Blaze Phoenix, the Burning Bombardment bird, could FTK by exploring it Birdman, Xenax Blast Fan, Stratos, Ancient Fairy Dragon, and most of all, Harpy Dancel, which resulted in these three cards getting hit on the list, instead of Blaze Phoenix itself. And yes, while I do acknowledge that Divine Wind would still be exploitable, especially alongside archetypes such as Harpy Ladies and Yosinzu, I think that it won't impact them too much. And if anything, they could probably just make it a hard one to ton. Additionally, terraforming has been semi-limited, and Ancient Fairy Dragon is currently banned. So, I think it would be safe enough to try to bring back. In conclusion, that's the spell trap lineup. Yep. That's it. One spell card, nothing else. Between this and Ally of Justice, they really hated back row during the Duel Terminal. But regardless, I'm sure you can understand why this has to be the worst designed and managed archetype in the entire Duel Terminal series.